Now I wouldn't have the food any other way. And you know what? When I get off the stuff the corporations sold us with all those synthetic sugars and oils in them, this tastes so delicious. Not only that, broccoli, right? Spinach. These things would taste delicious to you. You wouldn't want it any other way. I have rice, beans, things from the ground. People always ask, I'm on a whole food plant-based diet, and everything I eat has one ingredient in it. And the reason for that is it's not whatever type of diet you like or what you want to do. The whole thing I realize is that it's not the type of food you eat, but it's what you put on it. What you put on it, right? I find a whole food plant-based diet has just been, miraculously, I had all those illnesses and I got off all the medications, between 10 and 15 medications. So it stands right before you, right? But we also, and I speak about many times about the corporations, okay? The corporations who, they put these chemicals in these, really these foods should be, the processed food should be illegal. Or maybe they should have not the colorful packaging, but they should have the skull and cross like poisons on the labels. Because these things are truly, truly poisonous to us. They're killing us, and the scientists, they spend all day, and psychologists trying to figure out these centers of the brain. What they do is they corrupt the centers of the brain. So why are people today so obese and overweight is because they put certain chemicals. Then I talked about the epistatin, the hypothalamus is part of the brain. They attack. They know these chemicals will do it. It's like taking any drug or heroin or cocaine. And that's what these people are. They're pushers, pushing us into these things. Liberation from the food, from our addictions, from the self. We're always in the world trying to figure them out and stay in the problem. They always say you're in the problem, you're in the solution. So anytime I go on a diet and try to figure this whole thing out, I'm in the problem. I'm trying to resist it because I was trying to figure out how to fight it. I was on a strict diet for a year, lost all the weight, but I was miserable. I thought, look, this is the way it was. I thought that everything else was the problem. You were the problem outside. Everything was a problem. When I realized the problem, it's all about perception, attitude, and, towards my addiction also. The attitude adjustment, the attitude change. Here you go. Potato and this, high carbohydrate, low carbohydrate, high protein. I don't know. I could just see it's 3 times the calories what you put on the food, which is all the poisons, and also you're nutrient starved. When you eat all this garbage, there's no nutrients. So you could eat like 10,000 calories a day, but the body's still saying I'm hungry because it didn't get the nutrients. So there's a problem too. But that shift, enjoying, I enjoy my life and my diet now. I wouldn't have it any other way. What a crazy, crazy way to think. So our common sense tells us if I go to these corporations that charge millions of dollars, that make millions of dollars or billions of dollars, these big food, Jenny Craig or whatever, you have all of these Weight Watchers and stuff. They send you smaller morsels of food with all the same amount of poison. So how crazy is that? There's the insanity of it all. We trying to control weighing and measuring the food and all of this. Look, you can't argue with me. 95% of diets fail. The other 5% are miserable. I was at 5%. I did it for you. Well, actually, it didn't work because the day comes when the diet's you're not so interested in it and it fails. A new design for living. They fast is the real word I'm looking for, not diet. They fast because they realize the food is just another material thing. Now, if you have the food to keep your nourishment and keep you alive, that's one thing. But we live our whole lives to eat the food, and that's where the problem comes in. How about the food? Same thing. A moment, they say an eternity, a moment on the lips, eternity on the hips. You ever hear that one? So we're destroying our lives with all these diseases and illnesses by utilizing food not in the way it was supposed to be utilized. And when we find out the real spiritual comfort comes from within, then we surpass all of that. And when we have all of that comfort, we don't need it from food, we don't need it from people, we don't need it from success and money. Can you imagine how glorious and happy you are? Because those things never worked. If anybody here could tell me that they worked, for their life and they've got momentary pleasure, but that was it. Also, when you get that momentary pleasure, guess what? On the other side was just as much pain. The guy climbed Mount Everest, he was happy, did it, but then he was looking in that direction of material things to make him happy when he realized other people that he was miserable. So we have this plate of food, then we want more plates of foods because we're making it about that. So we're miserable, we get the diseases, illnesses, all of these problems. It's really crazy. It's like cigarette smoking was when people said, it's great, they'd have professionals on TV, medical people telling you, look, this will soothe your throat, make you feel better. It's all about the money corporations. Do you want to be a slave to the money corporations and those people? Is that what you want out of your life? They say, they were dry. Because a dry addict, a dry drunk, because they put the cork in the bottle, but they were miserable. They're miserable. Pride is the number one, the 7 deadly sins. And for some reason, they put gluttony in there, right? That's directly related of the 7, envy, lust, anger, fear, all of these things. Lust has to do with our lust for food. So we put our perception on that. But we can have that change. And, today we're slaves to these corporations and what's going on with them. So, did you want to be a slave to them and what the money they had to make? Look, this universe is so fantastic and amazing, and things around us, our bodies, our minds, and so to try to figure it out, we can't. But there is in the Eastern philosophy, the Tao, they call the universal energy we could feel. But we're constantly with self-centered fear. The fear has to relate to our stomach. When we're fearful, and we're fearful about, when you say to me, I have people, time will call me up and talk to me and say, I can't believe it. I binged the other day and I'm really upset. Well, that fear is bringing them back into addiction. Be glorious in everything you did. It all is all correct, but you could be in eternal presence, start your day over. The question is, are you binge eating right? Are you binging in your compulsion right now with the food? And if you're not, then you're present and you're doing well. All you have to do, look, you don't have to try with this. If during the day you just know that these foods that with all the stuff in them is poison, and that there's some glorious way out of that through these fruits and vegetables and grains and other foods that are wholesome and not created. This is what could be more amazing. All the synthetic stuff, and they talk about synthetic knowledge. All the scientists and all the whatever people who produce things can't make something beautiful, and nobody can as great as an orange or something like that. You want to participate in this, not in the synthetic, the sugars and synthetic oils and the processed stuff, and they condense the oils. Oil and sugar are refined. When you eat sugar, I eat sugar, a lot of sugar. It's here, and it's also in the potato. It's in the, whatever it is. But it has the fibrants from God. It has the nutrients also. But when they refine oils, a little tablespoon of oil is 150 calories. SOS, salt, oil, and sugar. Even I say those healthy food places that they say they're healthy, and you go there, Whole Foods or whatever they process. But when they have their salad bar, whatever they have there, they have these mixtures of what it could be with all kinds of food, but they have the salt, oil, and sugar in there. It adds 3 times the calories when you fry foods, like I talk about a potato. And people always say, oh, potato, what kind of diet food is that? But for its size, it's amazing because it fills you up. But yet if you fry it, it's 3 times the calories, French fries, or what do people put on it? Sour cream. I mean, crazy stuff, butter. What else they put on that? Bacon? I don't know. So there you go. How about a salad in a restaurant? A salad should be 200 calories. You look on the restaurant, they put the calories there in a lot of these places. It's 1,200 calories a salad with garbage on it. All synthetic processed food, no nutrients, so you're hungry later on as it is afterwards. Designed for living that really, really works, right? It really, really works. Perception change, the only way out of this mess. Otherwise, you're in addiction, you're in the problem, not the solution. The point, it's my perception.